Hey guys, Lindsay here again. Let's talk a little space weather action. I had been gone and there was the potential of some space weather. We had a G2 level storm when I was gone, but due to the dynamics of the system itself, we didn't see a lot of opportunities. Plus it was cloudy here. If it's cloudy and we have a space weather storm that's going to roll through, or a solar storm, or a geomagnetic storm rather, I'm not going to really talk about it a lot because you're not going to see it. So I don't really like talking about Aurora chances or any opportunities for that if we don't have the opportunity to see it. There was a system that went through, basically a CME, coronal mass ejection, took off from the sun on the 28th. What does that look like? Well, let's look at the coronagraph. So this is, again, you're looking at the sun, looking down at it, and right there, this is the 29th, and there, that right there launched out of the sun. Partial halo too. You see this right here? That's a partial halo, and you got two different sections that lifted right there. I mean, pretty amazing. So that's what we're looking at, this halo, this CME launch coming out of the west limb of the sun. When it's western limb directed, that sometimes means that we have the opportunity to see our own impacts from the sun. We could see the system if it goes off on the east limb or the north limb. I mean, we might get a glancing blow, but in most cases, you're not going to see that. So I'm going to try to find Enlil, which is how we can see if we have potential of seeing this guy. So as you look, we're going to see this coronal mass ejection get popped out right there. You see it? There it is, going through, and we are the green dot. So it looks like we're going to get this one if it can make it here in time. The solar wind is a little slow at the moment, and then anything else, this is just high speed streams, which happen with coronal holes. Coronal holes, you absolutely can get some aurora out of that, but this is a better chance when you have some plasma coming out of the sun. What it does is it interacts with the magnetic field and it makes them bounce all over the place. You get ionization of these particles and then it lights everything up, and that is how you get auroras. So and it's more likely at the poles because the magnetic fields go into the poles. So that's where you have those open magnetic field lines. So as we look at Enlil, it looks like it would arrive here. Oh, it looks like probably on the 30th. Nope, I'm sorry, the 2nd. This would be early in the morning. It actually looks like the 2nd. We're looking at Z time. So yeah, this is early in the morning, like midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So that'd be interesting to see how that gets impacted. Maybe we'll see some auroras on the 2nd. So that is a look at Enlil. Proton flux is pretty low, so we're not really worried about any radiation issues out of that. And as we look at our sun, this is a current look at the sun. This is the whole section that lifted off the other day. So I do want to look more at 195 angstroms. We also have to watch this coronal hole right here, which is now going to be facing us. So we're going to be in its path, basically. This is high speed solar streams. This also can give us a minor aurora. So it could get pretty interesting here over the next 48 hours, I would say. And this is also a really good one to see any flaring. So I can actually see some flaring going on here. That was what launched earlier. There's a lot of flares on the backside of the sun. It's a very active sun right now. If I type in solar synoptic map, OPT map, there we go. Yeah, there's our coronal hole right here. Here are some of those active regions. Active regions, that's what the red kind of stands for there. So yeah, pretty interesting to see that right now coming out of SWIPC's website. X-ray flux, there was like almost an M flare. We had a pretty high C-class flare, but otherwise I didn't see anything else popping up on X-ray. So this is what I look at in kind of real time, if you will, and this is what we look at for radio blackouts. I'm not seeing that, but I could look at the DRAP and see if that's on here. Yeah, DRAP is really low, so there's no issues when it comes to any blackouts when it comes to radio blackouts. K-index is pretty low still because, again, this is a planetary 3-hour data. It's an average of the K-index, so hasn't really been that interesting leading up to this, but I would expect it to go up once that CME gets closer. And then we look at the solar wind, and I'm noticing that the BZ component of the magnetic field is north right now. It does like to flip-flop a lot with high-speed solar streams, but as you can see, the speed is really low right now. So we're definitely looking at a CME launch that happened on the 29th, as we talked about. So that happened right around here. I don't see anything else on here that makes me feel like I need to jump out and say something. So what you really want to see is a southerly, so that'd be the bottom half of the map graph here, BZ component. And right now it's north. So when the CME arrives, and if it's south and we have good storming and all the right conditions, we might be able to see a little bit of Aurora. We'll see. We have a G1 level watch. Usually that doesn't do a lot for Wisconsin, quite frankly. I will say if you go to the SWPC website, be cautious of this. Yeah, we're barely in that loop, but again, this is just a really bad overestimation of Aurora chances. And you see that line here, that's like the termination line, if you will, like where you see it and when you don't maybe see it. I would say this is probably a northern Wisconsin deal for July 2nd, and this would be happening probably 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So that is what I got for you when it comes to space weather, guys. I hope that is a little helpful. You can always send me an email at lslater@hearst.com, or if you have any weather questions, you can always send me stuff there.